Okay, hey, this is Mark coming to you from Baker's Green Acres. I thought I'd make a video today because I've reached a milestone, and I set something in motion several months ago, and it's still in motion, and it's pretty cool, so I wanted to show it. Okay, today's the 30th of November, and tomorrow, December 1st, is when we usually say, okay, enough grazing for the year. Grazing begins, for me, when hay cutting ends. All right, so once I've cut all the hay off of my fields that I want, or that I need, I mean, I'm not going to take more than I need. When we do that, usually what we wind up do is selling it. But I'm not going to do that because for me, it's not what I need to do. And here's why. I take what I need to fill up the clear span building with as much hay as I think I will need for, 6 calves and 4 full-size cows. The two black ones are feeders. They're not cows, really, and they're never going to be cows. The two in the middle are cows. Cows are lactating animals, or animals that have females that have had calves. So today we close the gate, and now they cannot go out on the fields. And you might think, well, why not? You can still see bare ground out there. I can, but they're starting to reach over the fence and go for things on the other side of the fence. So they're starting to be destructive to fences. And I always know when that's happening, because the temporary fence that I put up to manage them, that's where they go over. So one of these black ones has been getting out for about 4 days now. He doesn't do anything. He just comes up to the house looking for me, and we have to shoo him back in. So we closed the gate today, and they're locked in up here. And this corral right here is their winter area, and then they can get in the barn to get out of the weather. Most of the time they stay outside, though. Well, this field here, this is about an acre or so, maybe a little more. I planted this with rye a couple months ago, and it did get up knee high. And then, it got cold and it wilted over. So that's where it is right now. It's wilted over, but there's a lot here, and you can see they don't mind it. They don't mind it. They also have dry hay out now that they can go after. But so they'll work on this until you can't see anything out here. I mean, it'll be so short, it'll look like that over there. See where the calves are? See how short that looks like? I seeded them at the same time. And the calves have whittled that down so it's so short that they can hardly get anything out there. And they have dry hay, and they also have calf feed. But they prefer the green. They prefer it. So anyway, these guys will do the same over here. They'll nip this off right close, and then they'll just go to eating dry hay. This will get totally covered with snow. Then in the spring, when this first opens up in March, we'll start seeing growth. It'll be bright green, because it will not kill. This is rye. It does not kill in the wintertime for the most part. And this came up really thick. I put a lot of seed down. The seed is cheap. And so by April, maybe, it depends on how dry it is, instead of letting them out on my hay fields, I'll let them out on this field. And there'll be a month of feed in here or more. They'll still be on dry feed, but this will start. So I can get them out on something that I'm not paying for as much as I do pay for hay. Even though I cut my own, it's still more expensive than letting them graze. And I'm looking at December, January, February, March, and maybe half of April. Maybe not. I might get them out April 1st. Never know. But 4 or 5 months of feeding them hay. And then once I've done my hay cutting, I will be able to let them out on the fields that are my hay fields. Normally that's not done around here. And I asked a guy about that one time. I said, how come you don't graze your cows on the hay field after you're done cutting hay? And he says, because it's a hay field. And that's all I got. And that's kind of the answers I get around here about stuff like that. But this is how I do it. So I'm only feeding them 4 months or 5 months, and then the rest of the time they're out doing the harvest themselves. And the whole idea of this harvest is their machines, the brown ones, they're jerseys, they convert grass to milk, and the black ones are feeders, and those calves will be feeders too, and they convert grass to T-bone steaks. So that's the whole purpose of this, right? And, there's probably more efficient ways to do it, I guess. But this works for us. And in the homesteading model, we're not going for huge numbers. I mean, this would never work if I was going to sell those 2 beef. That would never really work. As far as money goes, because they're going to be worth $2,000 in beef. A cat on me. And, if you're only doing 2 of them, that's not near enough money that a person needs to run a household. But those 2 animals in my freezer is as much beef as I'm going to need for a family my size in a year. And that's a lot of money right there. So it does pay off. Plus another thing, I harp on this a lot, and I think this is important to look at, is you can graze these animals with temporary fences. So that means like the area down by the road where I cannot cut that hay, with my hay cutting equipment. I can't cut that grass. I can set up a temp fence down there, and they'll go down and they'll clean it up, and they'll even make it look nice and turn that into beef and milk. Usually I put the milk cows down there because the beef animals are kind of wild. They're not real friendly. Like, they won't let me touch them. I got a cat bothering me right now. See? That cat's bothering me. All right, so that's what I'm doing, and that's the milestone that I've hit. And it's an ongoing story, because as soon as the snow parts in the spring, we'll see this lush growth come out of here, and I'll be able to get them on that as soon as possible. All right, it's Mark from Baker's Green Acres. Remember, anyone can farm.